I redesign almost all the thumbnails on Kai Trump's channel, but why aren't they on Kai's channel? Let me explain everything step by step. This video is more of a motivational one. It's also a video about the prospects of designing seemingly simple thumbnails for YouTube videos. For me though, it's more of a naive and crazy story. It all started when I saw one of Kai's videos in my recommendations, and as I usually do when I came across a video with a thumbnail that can be improved, I offer my services to the channel owner. Sometimes I even redesign a thumbnail first and then write to the author, showing them the result. This is what's called a warm pitch, not a cold email, but one where you already show a potential client some of your work. When I saw Kai's channel, I knew I had to act. The situation seemed perfect, a major serious client without a designer. Yes, the production quality was good and the thumbnails themselves looked decent, some even very good, but they could still be improved. I had a feeling that Kai was making them herself, though the composition suggested that someone with knowledge in this field was behind them. However, it also seemed like they lacked Photoshop skills to take the designs to the next level. Or perhaps it was the editor creating them simply because there was no dedicated designer on the team. Sending a generic message with a portfolio to such a client would have been at best unwise. A warm pitch with a redesigned thumbnail is better, but still not enough. However, redesigning all the thumbnails on the channel, describing each one and explaining what I did and why, that sounded interesting. This would definitely stand out, even though the chances of getting a reply were slim, probably less than 1%. There was still a chance, and if my message was seen, the likelihood of a response would increase because of the significant work I had put into it. I had to act quickly because someone else might reach out to her, or she could be recommended another designer, so I got to work. I started by analyzing similar channels, like those about golf and other related topics. I imagined in my head how the thumbnails should look, what needed to be fixed in the existing thumbnails, and so on. At the time of recording this video, the channel had 7 videos. Out of those 7 videos, I decided not to touch this thumbnail and this one. If one of these thumbnails could be improved at all, it might be by choosing a more interesting frame. However, this image already works very well. As for the other one, I think it's flawless. If you'd like me to do a more detailed breakdown of these thumbnails, what I would change and why such simple thumbnails work, feel free to write about it in the comments and I'll gladly make that video. The work took me several days, well, sort of. I created the first thumbnail featuring Elon Musk on the evening of December 5th and all the others next evening. Although I stayed up until 3 AM finishing them, it was an interesting challenge, not just to improve the thumbnails, but to rethink their visual style. Some of them I choose not to alter drastically, keeping their original concept while making them visually cleaner and more polished. Again, I'll reiterate that the thumbnails look like they were made by someone with knowledge in this field. They're not bad at all. Sometimes just small adjustments are enough to make an image more appealing and more professional, considering I only had video footage to work with. Creating something more dynamic and professional would require dedicated photo shoots. This is a topic for another video, but briefly, the success of a video depends not just on the thumbnail designer but on many factors. That's also a topic for yet another video. However, when it comes to photos for thumbnails, they significantly influence the clickability of a thumbnail. It's a mistake to think you can simply hand a designer mediocre photos or video footage, expect them to select the right moments and then create a perfect thumbnail. Of course, there are different types of content and audiences, but this always requires a professional approach, not just from the designer. I digress a bit, let's get back to the video. As I mentioned, this video is meant to motivate you. When I started this project, I believe I could directly reach out to the channel owner and pitch my ideas. However, after completing all the work and preparing to send the email, I noticed the email address contained the name of a studio. And then it hit me, the channel was managed by a professional team. This explained the high production quality and consistent style of the content. To be honest, I froze for a moment, realizing that all my work might have been for nothing was a bit disheartening. But let's imagine that the channel wasn't managed by a studio but by Kai herself. I'm confident that if she had seen my email and the thumbnails I created, it would have piqued her interest. Just imagine the possibilities. I could have worked with her directly. Moreover, through her I could have gained access to completely new opportunities. For instance, I might have ended up being one handshake away from people like the President of the United States or Elon Musk. Yes, I have nothing to talk about with such people. I don't claim anything. I'm nobody at all. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to use people for my own interests or step on others to get ahead. It's just the very idea that I have mutual acquaintances with such great people. And this is the real magic of the internet. Today you have a chance no matter where you are. You could live in a tiny village with a population of 100 and still work with people known worldwide. It's insane how many opportunities the internet offers, even in something as seemingly simple as designing thumbnails for YouTube videos. I want this video to inspire you. Don't be afraid to go beyond the usual. Offer something others don't. Sometimes it might seem like a utopia, as it did in my story, but it's worth trying. Yes, major clients usually come through recommendations. Word of mouth is still the most powerful tool. Of course, there are exceptions, but in most cases your connections and reputation will lead you to truly big clients. I'm not talking about bloggers with a million subscribers, I'm talking about globally known personalities like Joe Rogan. It's unlikely he'll reply to your email, but that's no reason not to try. Let this experience inspire you to push your boundaries and see where it takes you. Perhaps the results will exceed all your expectations, and just think the incredible opportunities that designing thumbnails for YouTube videos can offer.